Yes, you did. Made it weird.
What's happening, weirdos? This week's guest is Joe Lo Truglio, Reno 911, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The man plays a lot of cops. He's in Superbad. He's in The State, and he's incredible. Here's a little taste of our conversation.
You know, like to get just a hug from a male friend.
Can I say,
it's incredible.
man hugs?
Man hugs.
There's nothing like a man. There's nothing.
Oh my God, you smell great.
I was worried about my pits.
Sweat. Okay, good.
That was
Good. See, don't
See,
doesn't
it
that
was,
feel
it
good?
was firm, and your shoulders
Thanks.
feel like
My
you could carry me.
Delts are pretty good.
He's also a delight. He's also incredibly interesting, wonderful, fun, and this 2 hours flew by. Riff City, Friend City, dare I say? I feel like this is my new friend. We had a lot of fun and genuinely made a real connection, and I'm excited for you guys to listen in and check it out. You also know him from Superbad. I love you, man. And of course, The State. I mean, don't forget The State. This guy's a legend, and he was so fun to talk to. If you want to see more of me, ? You can see me. I'm on tour. I don't tour a lot. But I am touring right now. If you want to come, go to PeteHolmes.com. The next dates coming up are Grand Rapids, San Diego, New Orleans, Dallas, Houston, Milwaukee, Madison, Royal Oak, Michigan, Minneapolis, New York, and Ridgefield, Connecticut. I'll be adding more dates as well. But they'll all be on PeteHolmes.com, regardless of when you hear this. I also do a monthly show at Largo. The next one is on March 29th, the day before my birthday. For tickets to that, if you're going to be in the LA area, always the highlight of my month, go to largo-la.com and look for the show Pete Holmes Living at Largo. And if you want to support this show, why not try a Pete's Pick like this one I'm wearing right here? This is my APPOLLO Neuro, for those of you that are watching it on the video. APPOLLO Neuro, I wear it on the inside of my wrist. Val wears it on her ankle. This is the product that I think I've turned more people onto just IRL in real life than any other. And I'm so glad that they're a sponsor of this podcast, because the APPOLLO Neuro is helping people cope and recover from stress so beautifully and without anything internal in your body. It's something you wear. It's a wearable piece of technology that sends almost subperceptual vibrations directly into your nervous system, because that is the language your nervous system speaks. It basically simulates the feeling of being held or hugged. It's a wearable digital hug that can help you relax, can help you sleep. I swear by it when I sleep. If I get up in the middle of the night, I rerun the program, lulls me back to sleep. If it only did that, it would be incredible. But it also helps you focus. It helps you create energy without having more coffee. You can run the energy and wake up program, gets your heart pumping, gets you in the flow. Wonderful when you're driving. Sometimes when I'm getting sleepy when I'm driving, I turn my APPOLLO on energy. It is just such a wonderful secret weapon. It's like finding the fuse box to your body for your nervous system, help you feel safe and in control. Energy and Wake Up, social and open for when you're at parties or when I'm doing stand-up, or honestly when I'm doing this podcast. My APPOLLO is often on social and open. Clear and Focused helps people with symptoms of ADD, helps you focus and dial in. Rebuild and Recover, wonderful for after workouts, but it's also wonderful after just stressful things, like maybe a call home to the folks. Meditation and Mindfulness, it lulls you and guides you into deeper and more satisfying meditation. That is one of my favorite settings. And as I mentioned, relax and unwind and sleep and renew. It actually trains your nervous system to cope with stress better over time. The more you use it, the better it works. And it is not woo-woo. They don't sell them in crystal shops. This is #science. APPOLLO Neuro was developed by a neuroscientist and a board-certified psychiatrist who have been studying the impacts of chronic stress in humans for nearly 15 years. And APPOLLO's effects on stress, sleep, cognitive performance, and recovery have been proven in multiple clinical trials and real-world studies. So it's the real deal. I know a lot of us are dealing with stress. A lot of us are dealing with lack of energy, lack of focus. The APPOLLO Neuro is a wonderful chemical-free way to help your body do what it's capable of doing. And you can get 10% off and show your support of the show by going to apolloneuro.com/weird for 10% off. That's APOLLONEURO.com/weird for 10% off. It's a great gift. It's also a great gift to give yourself. Also, one of our oldest and longest running Pete's Picks. This is I'm holding it up for the camera and shaking it for the listeners. This is ONNIT Alpha Brain. Alpha Brain is a nootropic. I know you hear a lot about nootropics, and frankly, I've tried a lot of nootropics, and ONNIT Alpha Brain has been my go-to for almost the past decade now. I always have it. It's like fish food for your imagination. It gives your body, it gives your brain earth-grown ingredients that help it concentrate and dial in. It's not a stimulant. It's not like caffeine. It doesn't give you any jitters or jolts. It just gives you the nutrition that you need to concentrate. And what are you doing? I don't know much about you. I don't know what you're doing in your life, but chances are you're using your brain. I wish I had this in school. It would have been so helpful for tests, exams, for reading. Now I just take it. As I always say, I take it before I date with Val, just so I'm an engaging and interesting date. I take it every time before this podcast. I take it every time before I write a script or have an important call or do stand-up comedy. It is a noticeable, discernible difference, just a feeling of having the support you need, the nutrition you need in your brain to function at its utmost. I'm going to say at its utmost. And you can give it a try. The best way to know if you like Alpha Brain is to give it a try, and you'll get 10% off, and you'll show your support of the show. Go to ONNIT, ONNIT.com/weird. You'll get 10% off everything you see on that landing page. Use promo code WEIRD at checkout. 10% off from everything at ONNIT.com/weird. Give it a try. It's a huge game changer for me. And last but not least, I don't always mention this, but we're drinking NIRVANA Water Sciences water in all of these video episodes, if you happen to notice it. It's water that supports lean muscle development, improves muscle performance and mobility, reduces muscle soreness, and boosts recovery time post-exercise because it has something called HMB in the water. It's incredible. That's why we're working with them. They're the drink, the official drink. Go to nirvanawatersciences.com and use promo code PETE20. You'll get 20% off. Give it a try. An incredible way to transform your body and stay hydrated. All right, everybody. Hope to see you out on the road. Enjoy this chat with my new pal, Joe Lo Truglio. Get into it. Don't even untie them. Just kick them off.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I am not telling you how to do it.
How do you undo shoes?
I mean, that's how you undo a shoe right there. You can wear those or not. I just made a choice not to.
Oh,
You don't have to.
I'm not gonna wear them.
Yeah. So what we were just...
Yeah.
I'll just say what we did before we rolled
Okay.
was something that I love. Transparency.
All right.
Joe was just saying he's a little stressed about something not even that interesting in his business life.
Right.
That you wanted to dump
I wanted to dump.
before we began.
Yes.
And I want to say that every show, first of all, hello. Is this okay?
Hi.
How does this feel?
Pretty good.
We just had Rick Glassman on that didn't want.
Oh, it felt good.
That felt great.
Yeah, that was a good stretch.
That was awesome.
That was a real good. We got to do that. We got to.
Yeah. You ever do yoga and you're like, why don't we stretch all the time?
Yeah.
It feels
kind of.
so good.
Kind of.
It's like a massage you give yourself, but it takes effort.
It takes a little effort to do
It
it.
takes a little too much effort.
I was doing yoga for a while.
It's yoga, just so you know.
It's
I don't want you to be embarrassed when this is released.
By the way, this is going to
pronounced
happen a
yoga.
lot.
Yeah.
But especially on these podcasts when I'm kind of like thinking about what to say, I'll mispronounce words and go on. But please.
Well, your buddy Ken Marino
Yeah.
did this pod and confessed that he...
I watched it.
Okay, for a
I
long
watched
time.
I watched the incredible opening act.
Yes. It was one of the more epic.
I love it.
I still have the TV guide he gave me. But remember he used to say souvenir instead of souvenir?
Oh, yes.
Which I found
incredible.
Truly incredible. Have you had a lifelong mispronunciation? Mine was channel. I used to say channel instead of channel.
Oh.
Like change the channel.
Oh, change the channel.
When you
Because
think
there is an actual channel as
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
as
yeah.
you
And
know.
I call that the channel.
It's a good
The
swap.
channel between France
That's
and...
the
I don't
channel.
know.
The,
It's an
underwater channel.
It's an underwater channel. Have you ever been on the channel? No,
I have not.
No, nobody.
I have not. No,
I
I'm
don't
jumping
think
back
it's
to
real.
the mispronunciations. Yes,
Any
I
lifelong
feel
ones?
like,
Hello?
how do you say the thing you put on pancakes?
Syrup.
Okay, then I say the same thing. Syrup. Okay.
That's how do some people say syrup?
Syrup.
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 Yeah, it's not syrup. And I'm going to go
agree.
farther. It's not greasy. It's greasy.
Oh, I've
you
never.
say greasy?
No. I say greasy.
Greasy.
Someone says
People say greasy.
Really?
I think it's a Southern thing, and I don't mean to shame anybody, but I don't like anybody that says greasy.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want to draw a line in the sand, but I will die on that hill.
Sure. I like.
greasy. And
Don't die. First of all.
What is the T100? The T800 is a Terminator. Starts with an R.
Robot.
Yeah, robot.
Not robot.
Say robot.
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 A buddy of mine, Ben Garant from the States and other incredible shows, says Thanksgiving.
I don't care for that. But off of that,
Yeah.
I like how British people say girlfriend. They
Girlfriend.
go up, girlfriend. Is this your girlfriend?
Or like the weekend.
Weekend, girlfriend.
Yes.
We go girlfriend.
And weekend.
Weekend.
Yeah.
I just had to speak Mandarin for the first time.
For what?
Just a little espionage. I was
Are you-
undercover.
Are you working for us, man?
I
Are you
just-
down?
yeah.
Are you deep state?
I'm deep state. I shouldn't be saying this.
This is a terrible thing to say
It's
on a
an
podcast.
horrible place to
as
talk
renowned
about.
as your own and has been heard by many people.
Can I say I'm confident they're not going to watch it? The people that I'm after,
Yeah,
they're not after joyful podcasts.
They don't have time to
They don't
listen
have
to
time.
podcasts.
You should see what they're doing.
Oh,
I'll just
I don't
tell
wanna-
you.
I don't want to know.
I'll just.
I mean,
yeah, you don't want.
it
trust
involves
me.
parachutes, and that's scary.
Yeah, plausible deniability.
Yes.
for the Lo Truglio. Am I saying that right?
Well, it's funny. Yes.
Oh, that's.
because I listened. I listened to Carrie's too.
Did she
And-
say your name wrong?
No, you guys went off. Well, no, you guys went off on my name for a little bit.
Oh, we did?
We did. It's all good. There's
Joe Lo?
no. Well,
That
Joe
sounds
Lo,
like a
I
joke
can't
wouldn't make.
stand.
Yeah, I would understand.
Like, it's a term of endearment, and I let it go with some people. You can do that.
I'm
like
glad.
you.
Can I just say?
Yeah.
I was just predicting what past Pete might have said. You put a Joe and a Lo that close to each other, a goofy man, and you're not in the room.
Yeah.
I might have said Joe Lo.
Part of it's my fault. Part of it is me separating the first two letters of my last name.
Yeah, because
Yeah, like I take complete
it's your
ownership of my name.
Was that your choice?
And the trouble. Well, no, that's how it's actually
it is.
spelled. But I could have, like most people, just squeeze it together
Squeeze
and
it
let's
in.
all.
Ellis Island yourself.
Let's do it.
just
and,
go. I am now.
But I needed that capital T. I don't know why, but I
Yeah,
needed that capital
I
T.
get it. In a lot of people's iPhones, you're JLT. You know,
Yeah,
I'll do
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the kind of summary on my name because it's maybe the most boring subject ever.
I can't wait. Can I just say, by the way,
Yeah.
it's not boring.
Ah, thanks.
I like it.
Thank you.
It's your name.
This is part of the
you've been carrying
nervousness.
this bag of rocks around with you. The last name Lo Truglio.
Yeah, which is
For
which
fuck's
is fine.
sake.
It's fine.
No, but it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Thank you. It's a lot.
SATs.
This is part of the nervousness I was talking about.
I wanna
talking
talk all
about
about it.
myself and then specifically my name.
I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because that's actually great. I'm going to give you a compliment. If you came in here raring to go, talking
don't
about
wanna-
yourself, like, I just can't wait to unload. Like,
Yeah.
I'd like you to feel safe and seen and heard.
Well,
but not like just a donkey JIZZ. I try not to be too dirty in the first couple minutes so
let's
we
keep
don't
it
get
clean. Let's
flagged
keep it
for
clean.
ads. But
keep
I
it
can
clean.
spell what about jism?
Oh, like jism, like
Jism.
like some jazz.
Yeah.
like
Well,
jism,
I
some
think when you
jazz.
play-
if you flip it.
Well, yeah, jism.
Jizz.
Jizz.
Yeah,
Now we're just making sounds. If one of them happens to be jizz.
we can scat this whole thing.
By the way, if you hear Ella Fitzgerald scat, which I'm sure as a owner of Apple Music account, I'm sure it's come on every Christmas.
Love her.
You might just hear it. You do feel bad for the bad name that Scatton's been given.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? 'Cause
know.
when someone can really do it, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's really something.
But then-
I mean, the good ones.
I saw a white guy in a Barnes & Noble in Central Maine scat once. And if you haven't seen a...
Remembers. That's
like
my
saying Pepperidge
terrible generalization of people in Maine. They just talk like the Peffbridge Farms guy.
Oh, Pepperidge
Or
Farm!
Fred Gwynn from Pet Cemetery.
Pepperidge Farm.
Yeah,
Mint Milano. Mint Milano. Sausalito.
Buttercookie.
Actually, you figured out a nice little hack.
I
A
did.
good way to scat. If you can't think of any, just say Pepperidge Farm cookies. Sausalito. Sausalito.
Then, oh, that's Girl Scouts. I jumped to
Those
Girl
work.
Scouts.
Those work.
Yeah, oh,
Samoa-
yeah. Tag
I always
along.
get nervous
Tag
saying
along.
Samoa because Samoa isn't. What is a
A Samoan, is a Polynesian native, I believe.
Right. And I'm always like, I'm afraid I'm going to order a Polynesian native when I really just want that coconut cookie.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever been to Polynesia?
I've stayed at the Polynesian.
A lot of cookies. A lot of coconut cookies there.
A lot of coconut.
It's weird. That's where it comes from.
Is it darker in here than it normally is?
Yeah, I think because of
The cloud cover?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, you still look
Cloud
great.
has come over this podcast.
You still look great. Look,
Thanks.
where were we? You're nervous. I'm like, it's healthy
I feel safe.
Okay, good.
I feel safe.
But it's healthy to come in and not want to be like, I can't wait for the world to know about Joe Lo Truglio.
I tell
Kind of triple rhymes.
That
Joe
is-
Lo Truglio.
that is nice. That is
Joe
Lo Truglio.
Lo Truglio.
I learned how to
Cope.
only recently with my name. So it's all new. It's kind of exciting. No, I found out it's pronounced that way from my grandfather told me that.
What do you mean?
Lo Truglio. The G is silent.
Lo Truglio.
And so this is what I think you and Kerry were riffing on, rightfully so, is that for so long,
Thanks for
people. Well,
thank you.
For so
I
long,
didn't
people.
think, when we're doing that, I'm like, he's not going to hear this. But then
No,
here you are.
I want to do my preparation for your
Carrie
show.
Keeney. Let's make fun of her name.
Keeny. She's the biggest. She's like my big sister. I love
Is
Carrie.
she?
Yeah. That was always
she's-
the best
she's
relationship.
It's not going to be
with the state.
Showalter. Jeez, Crow.
I love Showalter. I
I'm
just saw
just kidding.
Show.
I just picked one of the other ones.
I know. One of the other.
I just
other
happened.
ones.
I just worked
There's
with him.
There's 39 of them.
There are
of
39
us.
state
Yeah,
members.
yeah.
A lot
Out
of
there.
them didn't get used.
Not to get used, and believe me, those rehearsals were not easy to be at. There's a lot of upset people.
A lot of heat.
Lot of heat.
You could cook an egg on the 31 members of the state.
We needed such a big room, and
Yes.
most of the people weren't even on the stage.
And they're not a good audience because they're just like, I could do that.
Not funny.
Nah. The heck.
Better recurring character.
Yeah.
I had a better recurring character.
I got kids in the hall on line 2. That's what they say. What were you saying? You've coped?
I was saying, I was just getting back to the name and why people were like, what is it? What's with the name? Because I was saying Lo Truglio myself until I was 20.
Of course.
And then I changed it. And, changing a name midstream for those that are close to you, sometimes they don't like that.
Don't change your horse midstream.
Yeah, don't change your name
a G
at
to
20
silent.
years old. Yeah.
I have a silent L in my name, Holmes, but you kind of say it.
Holmes.
You don't say Holmes. You can.
No, you wouldn't say
I won't correct you for Holmes.
Holmes,
I will
yeah.
correct you for Holmes.
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 Pete Holmes.
Yeah, I like a Mediterranean
No one's called you that,
dish.
has-
Can I have the Holmes?
Yes.
The Holmes
Yes.
plate?
Yeah, Holmes.
With the
Holmes
couscous?
place.
The coulis? Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I listened to you on our friend Michael Rosenbaum's pod,
Oh, yeah.
and you were about to have a colonoscopy, and
Yeah.
now you've had it.
I'm clear.
Isn't this fun?
I'm clear. It's great.
Because the Joe I heard on that show
Yeah.
was about to get one.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the better Joe that
No, you're talking to
already
the
had
Joe,
it.
the polyp-free Joe.
Polyp-free.
Clean,
Zero.
squeaky clean Joe.
Tell me, because I'm 43, which means
Yeah.
I'm 2 years shy of, I still think that's a little young.
It can't hurt.
It can't hurt.
It can't hurt.
except it does
well,
hurt.
no, if you use the right drugs, it won't hurt.
Well, what did you do for your numbing? Because
I
Conan
went-
O'Brien took, I think he took the opioids.
Yeah, I went
whatever the
under.
strong drugs
I said,
are.
I just, I said, put me under it. No, I think I, propanol?
Propanol?
Yeah.
That's a gas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does it come from your butt? Did they just get the tube from your butt to your
right,
face?
it's right, loops it right around.
Let's give him the gas that
right
he
around.
makes.
Just siphon it right out like
It was
a
right there, and then you
gasoline.
pass out because your own butt smells so bad.
Oh, the worst.
You pass out, and then
Mine smells actually wonderful.
does it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do
I have a
you-
great bouquet.
I don't want to. We
Later.
could.
Nah.
I don't mind.
Oh.
If you're alone, though, it's an old
Eh.
Eddie Murphy bit. You want to smell your own fart because you want to grade
Yeah.
it. You want
Yeah.
to know where it is on the scale.
My son does that.
What do you mean?
He grades. He
Eli?
doesn't grade it, but he
He'll
does.
tell you?
Yeah, he'll tell you it's me.
Oh, he claims it.
Yeah.
What about in front of your wife? We,
You know
We ripping?
what's great? Beth and I have
Don't use it.
we try not to do it.
just kidding.
We try not
Oh,
to do
really?
it.
To keep the romance alive.
Yeah, I mean that's the struggle for any married couple.
How long?
But married 8 years.
But together.
but together 20.
Wow.
18, yeah.
That's annoying.
Yeah, so you
'Cause
gotta.
it sounds like you're kind of newlyweds, but you're like, I've been with this woman
Yeah,
through at least one
I
colonoscopy.
know. Exactly.
And I got a kid who's farting and smelling it and claiming it.
And claiming
That's
it.
a long relationship.
Yeah.
So you've been together 18 years. And you try.
That's right.
I'm going to let you know, Val and I do rip it. I do. She
Yeah.
doesn't. Which is,
Is
the
that
patriarchy. I think
the
it's- I think
blame the
it's- I don't know
patriarchy.
what the patriarchy is, but I think it
on
might be
the
that.
on the fart topic?
It might be
But-
that.
Yeah.
It's farting in front of her. But we
There's like
laugh
a
so
mystery, I guess,
I
that
get
you
it.
try to keep, but
Look, you're not going to get any pushback from me. I did. We're talking farts. How was it? You took the gas. You took the propanol.
Yes, and I don't remember
Anything
much.
else?
Yeah, it was pretty quick. They said count down. I got to probably 8, and
Was that embarrassing? Did you
No,
want to
no.
get to 6?
I
Like a real
I
man
did set a
gets to
goal
6.
before I went in.
Next
I'm
to
like,
you
I'm getting
is-
to 6. I'm getting to 6.
is Jason
10, 9,
Jason Momoa is next to you going,
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, 0, -1. And he goes out -8.
Wait, what is that? What is that
He's a
reference to?
man. He's a man.
Oh,
And
a
you're
man's man, like-
boy.
oh, I see, I
You're a
see.
boy like me.
Okay,
I make it
okay.
to the in 9.
I see.
Because I'm ready to pass
You're
out
ready
at
to
any
pass
moment.
out. I'm. What does 8 qualify as? I don't know.
8 is normal.
8 is normal.
I'm just going to say.
Apparently, I talk a lot
While you're out.
While I was out,
Really?
but it was mainly nonsense. I tried to get some specifics, and they wouldn't give me. I don't
That's
know if
a
it was mainly
nightmare.
nonsense.
What if
or-
you were like, my least favorite race? You
I'll
just
tell you my favorite cookies: Samoas, Thin Mints.
They're like, he doesn't even know that that's a Polynesian person.
No.
He just said a cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows what I was saying?
You should have recorded it. Although, this is one of my fears. You're dying, right? So
Yeah.
you're married. I'm married. I'm dying. I'm in a hospital.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'd like a nice old age hospital death. That sounds
Yeah.
pretty good. They give you little druggies and
Yeah, little-
kind of cycle through.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? You say your goodbyes.
Just to have do you like the idea of someone taking care of you?
I like
While
bed. I like any bed. I'll take
Yeah.
a deathbed. Still a bed. Still a bed.
To a bed.
I
Hey, it's
love
a bed.
so much. Deathbed sounds
I
nice.
just need a bed. All we have is deathbeds. Hey, still a bed. I'll
As
take
soon
it.
as you die in a bed, it's
Take
a
it.
deathbed.
Take it.
But I'm worried that as you go,
Right.
I'll start saying some nonsense. Because, we're stuck with our brains all the live long.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're driving around, and every once in a while, you'll just have some insane, disgusting, or
Yeah.
let's not say disgusting, but truly absurd, dreamlike nonsense comes out in your brain.
Sure.
And I'm worried about being really old, and then I start going Napoleon was a sweet piece of
But
ass.
isn't
You know what I mean?
that the best? Isn't that something to look forward to though?
I like your shift. I accept your shift.
He's like, oh, he's getting up there. Like my
You can get away with a lot.
my grandfather,
Silent G.
Silent G, he passed away a while ago from Alzheimer's. But before he passed, when I was visiting him at the center, he would say, "Joe, come here." And he'd call me over, and he's like, "You see that blonde nurse over there?" There was not a blonde nurse there. There was a male nurse or no one at all. And I said, "Yeah." He's like,
Yes,
when they
and
close down the close shop, they put us to bed. She brings out a keg. We all come out. We have a party. It's great. It's a great time. It's like, and I'm listening to this, and in my head, of course, immediately my grandpa's going, but immediately after, this sounds pretty great. If I'm gonna get stuck, and I want to be careful because Alzheimer's is not great.
No, I
and
understand.
It's terrible and painful.
Look, he could have said that
For the loved
nurse
ones, but-
tortures us when he said a keg.
Yeah.
I'm celebrating the
Yeah.
way that your grandfather's brain decided to tilt.
He was in a party. He was in
a
some
party.
type of kegger.
Yes.
And did they have keggers? And he was born in 35 or
Right. They didn't have kegs. They had
not 35.
bathtubs
Well,
filled
before that,
with gin.
Yeah, but
We have bathtub gin
You
and
got-
we have cupcakes.
bring in the bathtub gin. The,
cup-
gin still. We have
The gin and the cupcakes are 100% flour. It's unflavored flour because
We've got all these licorice whips coming in,
I like liquor.
and a case of Charlotte Ruses.
Who wants a slow gin fizz and a licorice rip? These are hard to
We
say.
do it all here.
But he thought she rolled out a cake, so
Yeah.
he even kind of modernized his fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was amazing in that way. Like, wow, this is a terrible disease. But if I'm gonna go crazy, I guess this is the way to do it. Live in this
I'm
fantasy.
with you. Well, did you hear on NPR? That's National Public Radio.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, you got to donate. They'll give you a bag.
Sure.
Mike Birbiglia.
Ah,
We already ripped
familiar.
on him on the way in. We were laughing about, I called you Joe Birbiglia for no reason.
And I said, thank you, fresh
yeah.
off Broadway.
Exactly.
Yep.
These are the riffs. We'll reheat them. We're here for you guys.
We're here for everybody.
On NPR, they did a thing about how improvisers, and Alzheimer's, the principles of improv help when dealing with people with Alzheimer's. So imagine I have Alzheimer's, and in my, my own reality,
Yeah.
that nurse brings out a keg.
Right.
You can say, no, they don't. That's not true. There isn't even a nurse over there. They were making the argument that the principles of improv are actually more comforting, more soothing, because what would happen is if you yes-and it,
Yeah.
one of two things will happen. One, you've just sort of comforted them and let them know
Correct.
that
Yeah.
their authority over reality, even though we kind of know it's not right, is right.
Yep.
There's a comfort to that.
Yep.
Or two, I'm going to forget the second point. Two, they slowly put together that it's absurd what they're saying.
Oh, I
Like
see.
they come to the conclusion on their own.
It's helpful either way. They're
Either
coming
way.
around to figuring out.
Really changed
what
my
they're-
life.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And
Just
what a
nice to do.
great piece of advice. I believe I was adhering to it when I was talking. I was like, oh yeah, really? Wow. How long does that last?
That's great.
Yeah.
I'd love to be there.
Yeah. I'd love. Sorry, I can't make it tonight, but
This is a little sad. Sometimes I catch myself. My parents don't have Alzheimer's, but I do that with my parents anyway. Like they'll be like, I realize that instead my mom will say, when will you come visit or something? And
Yeah.
I'll have just visited them. And my mom will be like, when are you going to visit? And instead of being like, Ma, I just visited, like, why are you always doing this? You're guilting me or whatever.
Right.
You just say, it's like good improv. You just go like, I would love to. I really hope we can.
oh, that's
You know what I mean?
great.
Just jump to it.
Yeah.
Because I don't actually think she's logically saying necessarily, let's plan a trip.
Right.
She's saying, do you want to visit me?
right.
And when you just give it,
do I feel? Do you still need me? in
Do you
some way?
need me?
Am I still useful?
am I in your life?
Will I see you again before I go? Like I
been
get
a big
that.
change for me. You just go, oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
And Mark Duplass, when he did this podcast, when my mom talks about the old days when I was little and how much she enjoyed that, you just go like, it'd be so great if we could go back to that. It was such a special time.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, you are
no.
violating my boundaries. I'm
Yeah,
a grown
right,
man.
right.
Like, do not infantilize me.
Yeah.
Like, you can do that. And Lord knows I've done a version of that. I
Right.
didn't yell it. But you can also just go like, that was a magical time.
It's always the
I
shift.
loved it.
Right? It's always the shift. Like I feel like the older that I get, trying to navigate those feelings of not attacking someone, but just being so riled up by someone.
Yeah.
To be like, who said this to me? I can't remember. Someone says, "Man, you learn so much more about a person if you just listen to them." I'm stating the
No,
obvious,
you're not.
but there's like disagreements are such a way to understand how you feel about something, to kind of make
interesting.
someone else feel like they're heard, as opposed to like, well, what I think is this. To your point, you're like, oh yeah, oh okay, never thought of it
You
like
mean like
that. And
we call that green lights? We do that on this
Green
podcast.
lights.
There have been a
Yeah.
lot of times on this podcast where someone says something that I like fervently disagree with.
Yeah.
But it's so much more open or
Yeah.
spacious to just kind of
Yeah.
go with it and not be so precious that your opinions will evaporate in the sight of another opinion.
I
know what I mean?
feel like that's a fear that's dominating most of the culture.
That's sort of
Right
the
now.
time we're in, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like all of our beliefs are like livers in elevators of hospitals.
Yeah.
It's like, don't breathe on it.
Don't breathe
It's
on
like,
it.
what
Don't
happened
taint
to-
it.
Yes.
Don't infect it.
Yeah.
Keep it in the cooler. Keep
Yeah,
it protected.
yeah.
Keep ice on it.
Seal
keep it fresh.
Yeah. Everybody wear the booties over
Everyone
the
wear
booties.
the booties over my
Double
opinions
booties.
and my feelings.
Yeah.
It-
And I get it. I know what it's like to have your not feel safe, but once we get past a certain level of civility, it is refreshing to have
Yeah.
people. I'm drawn to people that just kind of like, these are
Same.
the ABCs of me, baby.
Same.
Because,
Well, it's also like how secure do you feel in what you actually believe?
well, that's it.
And not stubborn with how you feel. Like I think this way because I'm thoughtful and reflective and have been thinking about this idea for a while and have like looked at it from all sides, and I've landed here.
Yeah.
I feel pretty secure here. Now, someone may kind of hold up or point a little path at me like, oh, I actually am over here a little bit, but I'm not going to fall over where I am right now.
Right.
I'm not going to trip where I am right now.
Can't we go gradually? If you're on that
Yeah.
horse,
Yeah.
it's funny. I'm currently reading some stuff that I'm not sure I agree with. It's spiritual stuff. I won't. I will bore
That's for
you.
later. That's later, right?
That is later.
I know
We'll
that.
get into that
Okay.
later.
Yeah.
But the point is I'm going into a thought system that isn't necessarily super optimistic. Like it's not always telling me what I want to hear, but I'm like, I said to my friend Shane Moss yesterday, I was like, it's almost like I've been parented so well spiritually that I feel safe enough to look at things that are a little bit more bleak. Just to let you know what I'm talking about, like thought systems that are like reality isn't actually happening. It's kind of like a dream or a dance or a play. There's nothing wrong. We can still honor it, but like it can be a little frightening to go like maybe it's not ultimately real. But the reason I'm okay at looking at ideas like that or entertaining them, literally just entertaining them, is because I am on my horse that goes like, I'm a beloved child of God. I belong here. This isn't a mistake. I'm safe. We're okay.
Yeah.
But because of that foundation, I feel safe going into like a weirder, shadowier path.
Well, you have someone with you, right?
Exactly. But I
not
wouldn't.
doing
You
it
can't
alone.
start with this isn't real. Even when I say it's not real, this is a very real experience for me. I'm not going to deny that. We're having like a very real experience. I'm just going like, how far down can you go before you go like it's really just
program and binary code
or speck of light,
or
whatever
binary
it
code
is fine. Yeah, ones and zeros, the world of duality. That's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah,
that's what I just wanted you to know. I did bore you.
No, not me.
No, I don't think you feel bored, but I did say I won't bore you, and then yes, I did. Yes,
no,
I did.
I'm interested in stuff in talking about stuff like that. We don't have to dive in. I know that's a little bit later.
There's
but
no real. It tends to be the end. It tends to be the end. But we can get into it whenever we want. Here's a more fun way to touch on it. Ever see a ghost? Or because a lot of people haven't seen a ghost, anything unexplainable happen in your life? Something like a psychic tell you something, or a dream that predicted the future, or like a place you go, you always get this weird feeling.
Oh, that's
ever
good.
passed that you felt like is still a part of your life?
Yeah, that I'll start with I've never seen a ghost and very much believe in a lot of energy around us and
It's one face right here, which is like,
just
thank you, fucking
finally,
thank you,
thanks, Joe.
that means a lot. I know you can't hear me right now, but just
I've just been feeling invisible for so long and not seen.
You don't know what it's like to be living as a dead thing that died in 1901, hanging out in a podcast.
Very specific.
Yeah, I fell in well. I fell in well.
Oh, man.
It was the most embarrassing way to die.
You look good still.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, you look very much like my friend Pete Holmes' hands.
Well, that's the form I'm taking. He went into the well again.
I wish
he got most likely to fall in a well from his high school year.
Oh, man. Well, that worked out well.
That's how often it happened back then.
Yeah.
This guy's fallen in a well, they would say.
I mean, he's luckily he made it out. Looks like. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know.
He's still around.
I feel I haven't. That's a good question. I don't. I haven't seen. I know something weird has happened to me before, and none's jumping.
That's what I mean. It's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard to find.
Yeah.
I realize I didn't have an answer to that question. Everybody knows this that listens to this, except every time I stay at my mom's house, the ghost of my mom's cat jumps on the bed, and it's every single time. It's the most reliable. So I was a person going around going like, nah, but like sometimes they just get deleted.
Yeah.
I sometimes think our brains are looking out for us and going like, that's sometimes something like, I'll tell you this, or I'll ask you this. Does this make sense to you? That's my question. Sometimes I have memories of something happening, and it's so weird that I make a choice to just go like, let's just let that go. It might be as simple as a sound in your house.
Yeah.
And you're just like, if it happens again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't mean like a
Then I'll look into it.
Or jingling chains. I just mean like we do it all the time. Life is so weird, and we're just like, let's just let it go.
There was so at my house, I have in my garage, like I transformed it to my office. It's a separate structure. Is the point of this
freestanding
story? And we're in the main house, and my son is I gotta remember this right. My son is. We're talking to my son about something, and he said, now I'm going to forget her name. Let's say her name is like Sasha. He's like, well, that's not what Sasha says. And we're like, who's Sasha? And he's like, well, Sasha is like a ghost, a woman that I saw here before. I saw her in your office.
Oh no!
And
Come on.
And I'm like, what does she look like? And he's like, she has like white hair and like a dress, and I mean, and like she's. But I mean, it's
Thank you.
it's the guy from the well. You were close, Eli. You were close. It's Pete Holmes' hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Makes it less scary when it's my hand.
And he gave us the name of Sasha and the last name, whatever it was. And my wife. And
Wait,
I,
he gave you the last name?
He gave, which I can't remember, but he gave me a first and last name. And we Googled this name, and this name was this woman from old Hollywood that had bright, like blonde looking white hair and was like a burlesque dancer that had, it didn't say died in some mysterious way, but just the point of the story is the picture that came up was so much like what he said that we were just like, to your point, we're just gonna let this go.
Yeah.
We're just gonna let it go.
Well, I'm
like,
so glad that my prompt unlocked a very good ghost story.
Yeah,
Because
that happened.
Your brain just
and
goes, I can't handle this.
And nothing has happened in that office. That's weird. But it's almost scarier that it hasn't, because he's like, I saw her in your office, not in the house.
Yeah.
She's in the office. Where I'm most where a lot of my time.
Did it have to be where Dad's hanging out alone all the time?
Yeah.
Couldn't it have been in the
Where I'm
family
sending my
room?
emails.
Yeah. Couldn't it have been in a communal area?
That's right.
Couldn't
Maybe. Or even in the yard.
You know, if you're gonna have a ghost,
Couldn't we be an outside ghost?
by the way, what if we get to a point where ghosts are confirmed as a thing, and there are people going like, "Can we get these ghosts in the house?" Look at what we used to say in 2023: keep the ghosts in the yard.
Yeah.
They don't deserve a little heat.
Keep the ghosts in the yard.
They're already cold. They always
Yeah.
make things colder when they're around.
exactly.
Right?
And in the summer they'll be fine.
By the way, who was it? There was somebody on this pod that was like, in the future, I think there's a very good chance they might be right, that there'll be artificial intelligence and they'll look back on the history of robotics in our country, in our world, and they'll be like, they used to just keep us in their pockets right next to their ding-dongs.
Right. And now that
And farting on us. And,
Uh-huh.
you know, it's not, it won't be that, but there
Sure.
will be some version of like, what and it's weird to get into this because, of course, there's like reparations for slavery. I'm not trying to be cute. I'm trying to say that there's a potential that the callousness that we go, Alexa, play
I
Maroon
see.
5, like this, like cold. We didn't care. There was no time off.
Right. Or just kind of immediate gratification.
Yes.
Like, I mean, like,
That's why we got rid of our Alexa. Leela started being like, play Milan or whatever.
I never
And was
got
just
one of those
like,
because I was
don't know
paranoid
about
about, they're listening. They're listening
They are
anyway on the
listening.
phone. Like, I really do believe. I mean, for an Alexa or any of those, for me, is like a brilliant kind of move by any company, agency, or spy agency. Like, we can just get them to pay us.
Can I tell you?
$300 and we can have a mic in their room, in their house.
in every house.
In every house.
room of the house.
It's like a pretty.
Can I tell you I had a bit about this, Joe? You're ripping a thought right from
Oh,
my
really?
brain.
Oh,
They put a listening device in our house in exchange for something we already had. We already had music. Who was going around going like, if only I could voice automate music, I would have music back in my life.
right.
It's just a slightly.
Yeah.
Who was like, oh, I pushed a button.
I don't want to
gotta
get up.
take a nap.
I want to order people around. I want people to do something
do.
for me. I want to feel some power and some control.
Yeah, I want to yell
like
at something.
that.
And that's when the future robo lawyer, and this will be exhibit 011011. See, that'll be considered like a bad taste joke.
I think we're in trouble with the AI. I got to be honest.
Chat
And I
GP?
know part of this is like old crank Luddite, dude. But man, this is just bad news. It just doesn't make any sense to me why we need to have a computer telling us, writing essays and telling. I'm already sounding the oldest man in the world.
No, it's fine.
But like, it's too.
we could ask
It's too
ChatGPT to
much.
write a rant against itself in the voice of aging comedian Joe Lo Truglio.
Well, that I'd be into. Now I get it. Never mind. What would Joe Lo Truglio say? What would Joe Lo Truglio say?
Oh, First of all, it says, I'd like to clarify that the G is silent. Second of all, do we really
need it?
I'm with you. It's one of the strangest things, and I think our Freuds would have something to say about man's unconscious desire for annihilation. Like, I remember talking to my friend.
Like self-sabotage type of thing?
Yeah,
Like
even worse than self-sabotage might be like ruining an audition or something, or breaking up with a person that actually was great for you. I actually mean like a real yearning for oblivion. Like just like complete, get us out of here.
Right.
And what supports that is, on one hand, we're writing movies about how AI is surely going to see us as a festering virus destroying the resources of our host planet,
Right.
and will be replaced by robots. That's what we're doing with our left hand. And with our right hand, we're making those robots.
Right.
Like, what's going on? But it speaks to why people pick your poison. Drink a ton, eat a ton, do risky things, motorcycles, hand gliding, free base jumping, free basing. All these things speak to an often overlooked energy that is at play, which is this quiet, like, we could make this all go away. Like I don't mean suicide. I mean like Benjamin. I say this all the time.
But can we? I feel. Are we too past? Are we too deep? Are we too far in?
We're too deep, and it's because we have music from Alexa, and then and ChatGPT is so fun. It's so interesting.
It's like, what technology has not been weaponized yet?
Yeah, or sexualized. Yeah,
like
photocopy.
Like,
this is the old Seinfeld bit. Photocopier.
Everyone puts the bud on the photocopier.
You got it. It was right there. It was a glass camera for an ass.
That's right.
They designed it to make
Not
the
our fault.
secretary's job easier.
Just high enough to hop up on there.
That's right. Couldn't it have been 3 feet higher? You would have prevented a hole.
That's it.
Or you load it and it shoots up. It does its business up there.
Yeah.
Just don't put it anywhere near an ass.
Put it on the bottom of the thing. We can't get to it.
Put it on the bottom.
Put him on the bottom.
Cover it up.
Cover it up.
Load it in.
Yeah.
Why do I need to be able to see the light go? When you
Put
see
a
that
big
light go,
Acme anvil on top of it. That's hard to lift.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That a robot has to.
That a robot has to lift
That a
off.
lawyer in the future would say, "Did you ever ask the robot how he felt?" But we do sexualize and we do weaponize everything. Microwave technology was developed by the army. Like every time you use your microwave, that technology was made as a weapon, which seems weird. But then someone said to me, "So is fire. Like fire cooks food too, and fire is like one of the original
technology."
weapons." Yeah, it was the original technology, but it was also like, now that we have this, let's burn our enemies. Like one of the worst things was when people are battering.
Just the nature of man.
Battering ram a castle and they pour the tar.
The molten lead.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
molten lead.
The molten lead.
Can you? Like
Can't imagine.
I know.
I'm glad we don't live back then. I mean, that's the worst time, right? Does anyone, when you ask someone, hey, what era do you want to go back to? Does anyone say the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages? No. So can you imagine? Do you think they knew then? Like, man, no one's going to want to wish to come back here.
No one's time travel
in the future. No one's coming here. This is it. We just lost out. Bad timing on our part.
Even movies, 1 out of 35 are middle-aged movies. Yeah, because you can't see that many people with no access.
Well, they're a medieval age. There's a lot of middle-aged movies out there.
Well, I suppose that's true. The last one I watched was The Last Duel, and I was like, these people were like taking rats like Tylenol. They're like, you have an ailment? Eat this rat. Just like
as an elixir.
And Ryan Holiday did this pod, and he was like, remember, the Dark Ages were after. I'm going to sound stupid here.
No, I wouldn't know.
This is going to be my souvenir.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's I don't know when the Enlightenment is.
Yeah.
But there was a time of we were doing good.
And then,
as a people. And then all the libraries were burned, and then we fell into the Dark Ages. Like it wasn't like
surprise,
cavemen and then knights. It
Suddenly,
was like
when all the education's gone, that we go into the Dark Ages.
It was cavemen, a bunch of other stuff. Then it was like ancient Greece and logic and math and all this stuff. And after that is the motherfucking Dark Ages, where Matt Damon in a mullet is riding at Adam Driver with a jousting needle.
I think not to get super bleak, but we're there are forces at work now in this culture that want to welcome a new dark age,
You think
which
so?
is a lack of intellectualism and a lack of being smart or an opinion or
I
science
feel like you
or
can't put
education.
the toothpaste back in the tube, though. I hear you.
Yeah.
And now we're going to have healthy discourse, as we were saying
Great.
earlier.
Great.
Because once you, the sun came out. Once you sort of,
For your point.
What is the word? You just make it so easy to find out most things. I guess now that's a pretty hairy string to pull. I'm saying the internet has given us access to so many ideas. Like I wanted to know what entropy was.
Right.
Like, I just wanted a refresher on entropy. You can just type it in your computer and it'll tell you.
Yeah.
I don't think we can go back to like, it's God melting ice. You know what I mean? Like you can't.
No, you can't. I see. You're saying like those forces are in check because
it's been, what's the word? There's a word that means like given to all the people. There's a fancy word.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think
but
it's Volkswagen.
I guess I'm thinking just political entities,
Right.
that want that dismissed.
Well, it sure was easier to control people in the Dark Ages.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And if you don't have good medicine and you don't have good education, people tend to become a lot more tribalistic. They become a lot more superstitious. I mean, that's what sucked about those times. There was a time you go to the doctor and they'd be like, cowboys would go to the doctor and then be like, burn a little jasmine on the back of a dime and then bite it off while it's still hot, but it has to be raining.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like that.
Yeah.
We do live in that. Val and I were just rewatching White Lotus because we have a 4-year-old, so I think we missed a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. And there's a part where the very attractive British man. Did you watch White Lotus?
I did. I saw both.
Remember
Yeah,
the very
loved them.
attractive British man?
Yeah. In the first season?
Second season.
Second season. Okay.
Oh yeah, there is a very attractive British man in the first season.
Yeah, the main guy there.
The manager.
Yeah.
He's very handsome.
Yeah, very handsome.
Second
But
season
the
has
second
like a
season, okay.
dreamy, like he's
Yes.
Cockney. He's like,
Yeah.
it's getting a bit of fun.
Yeah.
You know, and Val and I both agree that he's a dreamboat. And he at one point says to the girl that he's dating, she's like, I just want to be satisfied. And he's like, can you imagine living in the Middle Ages? Everyone's just tearing each other apart.
Right.
Like if you can't be satisfied in this time,
you'll
you'll never be satisfied. And I
yeah.
was like, I mean, that's what makes that show so brilliant.
Yeah, I
Is
love
like, that's a really good, it's not the whole picture.
Right. But
You
it's,
could say
it's
like
giving
there's
you
a lot
little
of
peek.
bleakness, but you are just sitting on a boardwalk eating a gelato right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And yeah.
We get overwhelmed with all the info. And I honestly, I'm being real, I don't know how much is healthy to deny.
Healthy to deny what's coming at you.
When it comes to, you and I could spend 45 minutes to 4 hours Googling everything that happened yesterday. In fact, it would take way longer than 4 hours.
Sure would.
It would take a week.
Sure
It
would.
would take a month
Yeah.
to find every terrible thing that happened yesterday
Yeah.
that was reported. Probably, I don't even know,
And-
maybe 6 months. It
Right.
took a long time.
You're
And
saying
to
a lot.
feel it all. So you're denying, denial is a part of life. And it's a huge tool.
Yeah.
And the White Lotus really seems to be uncovering what we're denying.
Oh,
like,
I see what you mean. Yeah.
like the number of microorganisms that we kill. You know, like as somebody that, stayed away from meat and all these things because I wanted to not kill things. It's like, yeah, but you're denying these other things that you kill, or the practices of the companies of the things that you buy and the things that they kill, or leather, or the rats that get sucked up when they're harvesting kale. You know, like what about these guys? So there's always going to be some denial, and it does seem to be a bell curve. There's a great level of denial, and then there's the too much where you become
Right. Well, denial is certainly needed to often, protect from the pain.
and the
all that.
fear.
Yeah.
You and I, we live in, this is always my example, but there could be an earthquake right now. You could have an aneurysm
I've
right
been
now.
waiting for that for a while.
know.
The Californians.
California.
The Californians.
No, when I moved to LA, they were like, there's a 99.9%
know.
chance it'll happen before
I'm
2010.
worried about that too.
And I was like,
wow.
but there's a great comfort in that it's like, we also don't know.
You don't know, man.
We also don't know.
Yeah. It may not happen for another 100 years. Who knows?
The way we think about the planet is the way we think about our bodies. Like it's the same. It's the
Interesting.
same strategy. It's like, yeah, you could have an aneurysm. You could have some rare. I look like John Ritter. So when John Ritter died of that like rare heart thing that no one saw coming,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it haunted me even more. And that could happen. But in the same way we deny the probability of this disaster, this disaster, this disaster.
Sure.
And even when you see sometimes on the far right, extreme denial of certain things coming down the pipeline, you see that also a lot of times in the body practice. Like it's like, I'm also denying that eating this food
You're
or
right.
not, or smoking cigarettes or whatever it might be. It's all how you do everything is how you do anything.
Yeah, well, it's how your worldview, your approach to health.
And I actually think I tried to do a bit about this for a while that I was like the Republicans, and you know what I mean by that. I don't mean moderate Republicans. I mean like extreme Republicans do have us beat on that sort of like, shut up.
Get over it. Get over it.
I'm not saying that's healthy as a whole.
Sure.
But you do need a little, shut up. Get on the motorcycle. Get on the motorcycle.
Well, I think a part of it is just, taking accountability for your own fear, right? So if they're saying, shut up, you could say to yourself, all right, just I'm anxious now, or I'm presenting a fear, or why am I why am I acting like this or saying that? So I agree with that in a way,
right?
Of people saying like, shut up, but like
there's a good level of shut up, but there is a bad level. That's what you're getting to
for sure. And I think that I think it's important to it's for people to understand that they really are in control of their own mental health and their own this may be stating the obvious, but like their own happiness. I
agree.
And so
and you got to get the right level of shut up, and you don't want to hurt other people.
Correct.
Because that's gonna.
Well, I feel like the shut up, I like this term, shut up, is left for my close friends and my family. So like, hey man, come on, buck up, or because I know that they love me, they care about me, they're looking out for me, they know I have the strength to do that. You know?
Yeah, I agree. And I don't stand by this. This is just a joke, but I was like, as a liberal Democrat, we do have a lot of like, but
I agree.
No, but
yeah,
and
I do. I agree with that.
And this is a huge generalization. Shut up is like dad energy, and like don't forget your coat on Halloween, even though it ruins your outfit.
Right?
Is again,
it's the mom.
I'm not
energy,
saying it's just mom energy in the traditional archetype. I understand there's lots of different moms and lots of different dads, and lots of different arrangements of those energies. But that is what I wish we could find the nuance of somebody that goes like, sometimes, I'll give you an example. Like when I was a kid, I never wanted to go on roller coasters, but I had my own shut up that helped me. And then I got on, and then I loved roller coasters.
There you go.
But if you don't want to, but I'm also a very sensitive kid. If somebody had tried to tell me, shut up, I would have been troubled by that. I don't know where coddling begins and where...
Well, again, I think part of it is like, does this person have the right to do they know me well enough
that's it.
To tell me that, how to act?
Because it would have been my brother that would have been like... Or it would have been a silent pact I had with my brother that I wanted to impress my brother. Which is why where are you and your kids, your siblings?
But I'm the oldest. I have one younger brother. Yeah.
It's interesting. Do you feel like the younger one benefited from having you around?
Maybe a little bit. Yeah, maybe a little bit. My parents were pretty liberal and open with both of us, and I didn't get a lot of, or he didn't get a lot of. What am I trying to say? He got what I got.
I see.
He was treated, as openly as I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm saying obviously that was a leading question because I. Just by virtue of having he's 2 years older than me.
Okay.
A slightly older person who's therefore a little bit braver than me, or a little bit he's doing things I wanted to like impress him. It helped me to have a slightly older kid around.
Okay.
Even if my brother wasn't saying shut up.
Yeah.
I was like, well, he's doing it. He's skateboarding, or he's riding his bike down the scary hill.
It's just the one?
Just the one.
Okay.
Yeah. What does your brother do? What's
he's in on the other side of the business. Behind, he's a events coordinator for Stars Network. I'm actually going to his party for the premiere of Party Down, which is happening tonight.
Edit that
as of this taping.
Because you're in the new Party Down?
I'm not, but I'm a supporter.
Shut up!
Shut up! Come on, why are you going? Why are you working on their parade?
That's actually kind of funny. Agents have a lot of shut up. Like in the same way that chefs have a lot of shut up. Like we're like, don't boil a lobster. And
Yeah.
chefs are like, shut up.
Yeah,
and
just-
they boil a lobster and then we
I know
eat
how
it.
to do it.
And your agent calls and goes like, Joe needs a double wide trailer.
Right,
so
right.
you can just go around and be oblivious. In the same way that the president, regardless of the gender of the president, has a lot of that shut up, dad energy. It's like, I'm going to go in and figure out this war or this bill, all this stuff you don't want to do. So we can just keep eating ice cream and sometimes farting or not farting in front of our partners.
Correct. I think, shut up. I love your analogy there with the president thing because
It's the dad of the country, which is why there's so much resistance, I think, to have a female president.
yeah, but I would that's
Which I do not
interesting.
agree with. I do not agree with. You will not cancel
But don't you
Holmes
feel
for
like
that.
I was talking about this on another podcast? Don't you feel like presidents should just like kind of do? You vote for a president. I vote for a president for him to kind of just do the job.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear you brag about it. I don't want to hear you complain about it.
Yeah.
I don't even know. This goes for all of them. Like I
I'd
don't
like
want to
them
do it.
to win.
I voted for you to do it, and just make sure everything keeps running.
It's the same as the president of high school, the dumb senior that wants to be president
Yeah,
of the
like you
student
seem
class.
really into this.
It's like you want to.
Good for you.
Yeah. All right, Reese Witherspoon. You can have
Yeah.
meetings on Friday.
Have your
after
election.
school. And you know what, man? I've been to a lot of fancy restaurants and I've been on a lot of fancy vacations. There's no amount of that lifestyle that would make it worth it to go in the situation room and discuss what to do with like
No,
a
thanks.
country that's
No,
being
thank
invaded.
you.
No.
No, thank you.
I don't know what's going on. I don't think it's as cool. Like when I'm watching like a sports documentary or something, and it cuts to Bill Clinton, and I'm like, it's so funny that they become like folksy,
Yeah.
like Jimmy Carter or whatever,
Yeah.
or you see Obama in these things, and it's like, oh yeah, cute,
Yeah.
the aging president. I'm like, these people, all of them, both sides, were like deciding which thousands would die. Like that was their job. The arbiter of reality in a huge way.
In a huge way.
And it's so weird that we're like, but what do you think about cotton candy, Bill Clinton? And he's like, well,
Right. Did you save the turkey this Thanksgiving?
Yeah, exactly. We whitewash it when really it's a job. Or like Martin Sheen in West Wing, like we want it to be this like noble thing. And I'm sure there is some element of that, but it's also like this very
I think
sausagey job.
that part is similar to like for people that aren't in the show business, thinking that it's all glamour. Like, oh, you're in that movie or you go to premieres and they miss the other 99.9% of this.
That's interesting, yeah.
And so the president, you have this idea of like, oh, he's noble and he meets with heads of state and he's the president and has this, all the cool stuff. But man, there is so much bullshit and scary shit that he's got or she's got to deal with.
Well,
like,
let's bring that to you. It's like you're a recognizable comedian, but like, what are the things? Something else you said on Rosie's podcast was like the struggle is real, and I was like, of course it is. What are some of the misconceptions? Like, if you look at your one sheet of your life, it's like, oh, he's been in all these different things, but I know that there's months in between. There's the doubt. Tell me what it's like. Tell me what people don't know about being the president of comedy.
Very kind, but I'm not. I love that I assumed that you were saying I was the president of comedy.
No, I did. You heard the riff, right?
I did? Okay.
You Alzheimer's me.
The biggest part of the biggest struggle that I had with all of it was using my time wisely when I wasn't doing what I loved to do. So for me, it was figuring out time management in terms of creating something. Like I feel like, one tenet of my life is like be a creator, not a destroyer. That's that's very important to me.
Oh, I love that.
In all levels.
Good quote.
And so if you are a creator, then when you have time, do that. Write, draw. And so for the longest time, I was kind of looking outside for comparing, like, is this person working? Is that person working?
Yes.
And so am I hustling enough? This is very common for most actors, most comedians.
Of course, but nobody
most
admits it.
performers.
People never admit it to my satisfaction. I'm like, the number of times I try to stay off Instagram, but the number of times I just go to someone's profile to just see how many followers they have, which by the way, is why they let you see how many followers people have.
Yeah. It's a whole other, other thing.
Why should I feel ashamed that I'm checking? It's one of the things they've made available to check.
Yeah.
And let's be real, it wouldn't be as fun if you didn't see the score.
Yeah,
And this is
exactly.
what-
It's true.
and this is what
it's
actors
true.
are doing.
I mean, that's a whole separate conversation which
Yeah.
we could talk about.
Yeah.
That idea of followers and counting that.
Right, but
because-
you're counting jobs. You're
but
counting-
I'm talking about jobs, or if not jobs, where they are in their career, which is the biggest mistake of all, because everyone has their own timeline, and that's really true, and that's very hard to accept when
Yeah.
you're in your 20s, when you're younger, and you're like, what? And I'm impatient by nature anyway. As a person, I struggle with patience, and so it's like really doubly hard for me to let it just come to me. Like, even, for example, with Brooklyn ending, I haven't really worked on. I've had little things here and there, but I haven't worked in like well over a year now, almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And and I have to kind of now. I've worked on a movie since then, but really, I've been available to work on something for like 18 months.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on?
I see
And
you in
so-
a room with a rotary phone on a pedestal, and we slowly
going
push
through
in.
going through a Rolodex.
hurt myself today to
Yeah,
see you. Sorry, the riff isn't over for me.
Go,
keep going.
go.
But I know what it's like.
Yeah.
Did you hear that Gene Hackman? I heard Gene Hackman in some interview, and I just couldn't believe it. Gene Hackman, a man who for since like 1973 has Tarzan swung from vine to vine, and each vine is a movie, said, I think when he was doing Tenenbaums or something, he was like, he had just come off another movie.
Yeah.
But he was like, every time a movie wraps, I'm convinced it's the last time I'll ever work.
Yeah, and that's the nature. Also, I think that's for actors, that is kind of your existence.
Well, it certainly is your specialness addiction. You're only as special as the last thing that told you you're special. That's the trick.
Yeah, and it's also trying to break down some myths that you're told early on in your acting career, like, all you need to do is get that one scene in a movie that's a big hit, and away we go, right?
Superbad.
That. All you need is a sitcom that really lands and goes to syndicate and goes for 8 years, and then you're golden. Did that.
Brooklyn
All
Nine-Nine.
you need is a couple of good campaigns, ad campaigns, and then you're like
Gateway.
Gateway.
Jack
Wiener
Lick.
Schnitzel.
Yeah.
And so, but all of those things, you realize that no one knows what the fuck they're talking about. In terms of what is the secret to a career that just keeps on going job to job, job to job.
Yeah.
Like, that just doesn't happen in this business. That's the reality of it.
Right. Let's keep on this conversation. We're going to go to the mid-rolls. It's fascinating, and I have a lot of thoughts about it.
Okay.
And we'll see if we can figure out human happiness.
Ooh.
We'll be back. I don't know how many ads there are. It's either 1 minute or 2 minutes. But just fucking listen to an ad. Does
Listen
it
to an
kill
ad,
you
guys.
It fucking pays Katie. Look at her nice laptop.
Maybe you
It
learn
pays for
something.
that fucking laptop. These cameras I'm talking into. You know what those cost? We'll be right back. This episode is brought to us by our friends at PYM. I'm holding right here. These are the original mood chews. They are support for overwhelm, anxiety, and stress, and they're citrus flavored. They are really tasty. I tried these. I found them online and I tried them with Val. And the next day, after one use, I bought some for my mom, my brother, a couple other family members. I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. That natural, non-psychoactive, non-addictive, something you can take simply. You just eat it. It's delicious and it supports your body. PYM, Prepare Your Mind, is a chew that helps you manage feelings of stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. Wonderful when you're feeling worried, stressed out, or as we say on the pod, you have a bee in your belly and you just can't focus. You can't do what you need to do. And if you're like me and you want to avoid pharmaceuticals, it's wonderful to have these natural GABA, L-theanine, and rhodiola. It doesn't matter if I can say it or not. I feel it. It gets in my system and it helps me just ease into whatever it is I need to do. It's not like a sedative. It doesn't like knock me out or make you sleepy. It's something I take in the morning to help me face those sometimes overwhelming things that you need to get done in the day. It is, I take them at the start of my day. I also take them at the end of the day. It's a wonderful way to take the edge off and ease into your evening. How it works is it's comprised of proven amino acid complexes and adaptogens that help support your ability. So it's helping your organic ability to manage and tolerate stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. It's just giving you those nutrients that you need to give you that little boost to get over that hill and do what you need to do with less stress, less fear, less anxiety, and overwhelm. They also make a wonderful product that I love called Mood Magnesium. It's formulated by neuroscientists and nutritional psychiatrists. It includes 3 magnesiums with the most evidence to support their effects on stress and sleep: magnesium, L-theanate, malate, and glycinate. Incredibly effective to help you fall asleep faster, sleep throughout the night, and wake up feeling rested. 70 or 75% of Americans are deficient in magnesium, so it's just a wonderful thing to get into your diet anyway, but it does help me fall asleep and stay asleep. It's delicious, easy to use, yuzu flavored power. So both of these two things, the original Mood Choose Here and Mood Magnesium, PYM is on a mission to end the stigma surrounding mental health and to make better moods accessible to us all. And a percentage of their profits, 1%, goes towards mental health nonprofits, including the one Bring Change to Mind. It's a gentle, effective, and natural way to give your body the nutrition it needs to fight off stress. And I'm so happy to say it absolutely works. It's wonderful to have a new natural ally in my corner for those of us that are dealing with these feelings of overwhelm. It's such a great, like I said, non-addictive, non-psychoactive ally to help us deal with so many of us are dealing with these feelings. I'm so glad PYM is here to help our bodies and to support this show. So you can support your body and support this show by going to youcanpym.com/weird and use promo code WEIRD for 15% off either the Mood Magnesium or the original Mood Choose. That's youcanpym.com/weird and promo code WEIRD for 15% off. Thank you, Prepare Your Mind. Thank you, PYM. All right, let's get back to Joe Lo Truglio.
Okay, we're back. We're instantly, for you and I, we're instantly back. Thanks to everybody who...
Thanks for listening to all of that.
Listening to all those ads. Mm-hmm. And isn't this just an ad for our way of thinking?
It is. It's an ad for friendship.
It's an ad for friendship. Use code WEIRD for 10% off your friendship, which actually means it's 90%.
Do you have a coupon?
Yeah, it's a coupon
for friendship.
Dude, I actually wrote down friends because you're a little bit older than me, but we're both dads.
Yeah.
We're both showbiz motherfuckers. We're both formerly collaborating, meaning, let me tell you, I used to make sketches. I still make sketches, but not as often.
My first introduction to you, which I loved, was you working with my wife Beth Dover on the Batman shorts.
There you go.
And I loved it, which are hilarious, and I love them from the get-go.
Thank you very much. The bat suit is right over there. It really is. It's in a box over there because we didn't have anywhere to put it. We're sort of a mom and pop.
I didn't mean to break you.
No, I love this. Yes,
you.
of course. And she was wonderful. Those things are so fun. And then as I've aged, there's just less of that because now you're doing shows. If you're fortunate, now you're working on TV shows, and that part of your life becomes a little bit more compartmentalized. Meaning, I spend less time in comedy clubs, less time with other comedians, other pirates, and I spend less time making sketches because everybody's busy, doing different things. And I really was curious as a dad and a comedy person, how do you do with friends? No wrong answer. I mean,
how do I
are you good at being a friend, having friends?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Friends?
I see what you mean.
Because I see a risk for men to calcify and curl into themselves.
I will say this. I don't think I'm as good of a friend as I could be, which is to say, I need to work on reaching out more. Because when I'm with a person, I listen and I'm present and I love them and celebrate. But like that's not all it takes to be a good friend. Like if you need
to
to
initiate.
You have to initiate. Like
be
how
like your brother planning events and shit.
yeah.
You do.
Yeah,
You do.
You do. It is you do have to play an active role, and what that does, and what's hard about that is that you often have to narrow down who do you want to be part of your life, because you can't. Be friends with everyone that you knew and were friends
Especially
along the
as
way.
you get older,
and as you get older, and you don't want to, like it's just too much.
Yeah.
You want people to kind of know the specific you. I feel like the people that know your memories are the ones that like I really want to kind of be around. The ones that I have a lot of.
They're co-conspirators in building the Joe that is based on the things that have already happened.
Yes.
And you don't have to fill them in. They already
Yeah.
know it. Yeah. I hear you.
I do want to jump on that because I think you bring up a great point with men in general and their outlet and venue to show affection and feel real like love and affection with other men.
Yeah.
Because I don't think a lot of men are lucky enough to have that.
Agree.
Like I have a group of guys. Some in the business, some not. Like in New York, I'm going to see some of them this weekend, and we talk about this all the time. Like how lucky we are when perhaps one of them has experienced a death in the family, one is having down in the dumps in their career, another maybe has an illness or a loved one who has an illness, and this idea of not being vulnerable, not being able to be vulnerable for men, it sucks. Yeah. Like you need that, and it's so rare. Because of many reasons, men in particular need to be lone wolves and tough and strong and on their own and provide and competitive and protect.
Yeah.
This is where we hunker down on our families and we're
like a wolf is. You know what I mean? Wolves don't go around going like, I can beat you in a race. But the wolf does go and eat the food. you know what I mean? If it finds it.
Yeah. And then part of what helps the wolf is that you realize the older you get that there's abundance. There's plenty for everyone. There really is. Again, and that was the thing early in my career that like you got that, and I'm not going to be able to get that. It's already taken.
Right.
He's already done it. She's already done it.
Right.
And
it wasn't just their yes, it was your no.
Yeah.
This is Super Soul Sunday. I'm sorry, I just turned it into Super Soul Sunday.
Who's turning into who?
It's Oprah's podcast. I'd be so lucky.
Yeah.
It just seemed like a moment.
Well, I mean, the fact is that a lot of these topics can be kind of dismissed or looked at as cheesy. I know that's not what you were doing, but
not you.
But I do feel it's important. I feel like
I really want to be clear that that's not what I was doing.
No,
yeah.
I love
this conversation.
No.
I love that
I
you have
meant
this group of men that are there for one another.
Yeah.
I just said their yes is your no.
Right. No. I was referring to the Oprah.
As long as you feel safe to continue, because I'm very interested. So you have a group of men now that can be there for each other.
Yeah, and I feel that's lacking in many male friendships.
How did it happen?
Well,
I'm sitting here going like, how do I do
we some I knew since I was 14, and then the rest we were at a card game. We started a poker game many years ago at a pub in New York.
Wow!
And some are, like I said, some are in the biz, some are not. But it's been going for a while, and you don't get there immediately. It kind of it grows, and some people come into the circle, and some fall out. Some you lose. Some you lose
for a few weeks.
For what's that?
Gary Busey was there.
Gary Busey
a few
was there.
weeks.
It was so many.
Hey Joe, I'd love to wear your face.
It was just,
Gary,
his smile was blinding everyone.
He came in the room 10 minutes before he arrived.
And then there's like some that you lose, literally that are no longer here, and that bonds this group even more. Right. You lose to addiction or other things, and so these are tenets that like get the hooks in deeper.
Yeah,
and we all of us kind of take solace in that and bring it up. Like we bring it up often how lucky we are to have that, because it does keeps me from like spinning out of feeling like it's great to have an incredible loving wife to vent to and parents that are still with me and my brother but you also want friends that serve that as well.
Specifically guy friends. Hard to get.
Yeah.
It's interesting the poker, I wasn't surprised at all. I was like, I bet this is a card game. Mm-hmm. It's almost like this concession you give the collective masculinity. It's like, this is not a new point. We'll bond, but we'll also kill fish. You know what I
Right.
mean? Or
Yeah.
we'll bond, but we'll also, and I don't even mean this. I mean this. I was just having a conversation about the virtues of masculinity, and I was like, surgery is very masculine, even if a woman is doing it, because women have masculine energy. It's very like, go in and fucking get it out of there. Like, and it's a cliche, but when Val and I are trying to figure out where to go for dinner, I like that I can fill that. Again, it's an archetype, but I can be the one that goes like, we're going there, and even if we hate it, we're gonna deal with it. Like that's the choice. Or when I go to Disneyland with my daughter, helping her by being this very decisive, we're going on this, then we're gonna eat, then we're gonna leave. You know what I mean? Like that, again, women can
fall
have it
into that too.
That's
for
powerful
sure.
stuff. So when I say the poker game is just giving the dog of manhood, and I don't mean bad dog, I just mean like the like whatever it is, giving it a meaty bone to gnaw on, so that after it relaxes, okay, I'm gonna play cards with you. Which let's be real, that means I'm gonna humiliate someone every once in a while. I'm gonna bluff them and destroy them.
Yeah,
it's all good stuff. Yeah, it's all good. I'm not saying that's bad. And while we're giving that side of our personalities this concession, I can also access other dimensions of my personality in my life. Like you said, someone died from addiction. Who can't relate to that? How many of us are, even if it's not narcotics, are addicted to things that are hurting us? That's scary. Let's be here together. Let's be here together, and the card game is the excuse.
Well, it began as just the card game, right? And then it grows, and obviously some of the people I knew a little bit before the card game, but others that I didn't know would be brought in by someone I did know. That's someone that I trust, and you get to know that person, you know. And I had another point, but maybe it'll come. But yeah, I feel like that's missing.
Meaty bone? Was it something about the meaty bone?
No.
The concession, fishing.
No. That's all right. It may come
Addiction, someone dying. So someone in the group passed away.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to, it's not that kind of podcast, but like that happened, and now there's an empty seat at the game.
It was filled.
It was filled. Almost immediately.
Almost immediately, like it was just lined up. No, it was. It was filled. It was. We had a wait list and just came right in.
As soon as there wasn't a week where it was empty. It was filled.
It's like the seat license at the SoFi Stadium. One leaves, another one comes right in.
Or it's the Oscars. You literally had a seat filler. Someone came in. Or in a dark way, it's a hospital bed. Think about that.
Let me ask you this, or let me tell you this.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like physical affection with your male friends is also important.
Yeah.
That I just feel like it's so hard to kind of break down some of these, male roles. And again, I know we're treading water that's been treaded forever, but it's just a shame that affection, and physical affection specifically, between men has to be sexualized always.
Yeah.
And like to get just a hug from a male friend,
Can I say,
it's incredible.
man hugs?
Man hugs.
There's nothing like a man. There's nothing.
Oh my God, you smell great.
I was worried about my pits.
Oh,
Sweats. Okay, good.
that was.
Good. See,
It
that feel good?
It was firm, and your shoulders
Thanks.
feel like
My
you
delts,
could carry me.
Delts are pretty good.
I'm just
My
saying.
delts? Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there is a look. I hug Val all the time. It's like it's like hugging a stress toy or something. She's so soft, and she
that's
smells
nice.
of flowers.
That's nice.
Oh yeah, I have no
soft,
complaints.
oh yeah.
That's my everyday.
No, I'm agreeing. I'm like, oh, what a nice.
But if I could hug Tony Robbins, just like a
fine
scaffolding
specimen.
He's something that you would put next to a building that you could build another story on that building.
Yeah.
He's giant and wide and stringy.
Stringy.
I'm saying all this is a positive thing. I completely agree. And how much of it, not to get too psychological, are we perhaps replace or becoming the male affection that we often craved when we were kids?
Yeah,
because
maybe.
we grew up in the fucking 80s. Have you seen the 80s?
Oh yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It's all over the place. The stereotypes and
80s were
homophobia.
insane.
Yeah. Gay panic. Yep.
Yes, gay panic. Everything was gay. I'm from
Yeah.
fucking Boston, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Everything was gay. Everything was tense. and everything was kill or be killed, which is kind of what we're talking about. There was a very like, get it, don't let other people take it, like go. Like that, at least that's what I received. And there wasn't a lot of male tenderness.
No.
And there wasn't a lot of, I mean, I used to have a joke about it. I haven't thought about it in a while, but I used to stand like that. Like I put my hand on my hip like a teapot. And my baseball coach told me not to do it because men don't stand that way. And even in the moment, I understood that he was looking out for me.
Sure.
Like I wasn't like, fuck you.
Yeah.
But he was just passing on what had been passed to him, which was like this like.
It's a generational idea.
So I really, even in the moment, think I received it as like a pro tip. Like, thanks, because I don't want to be bullied.
Right.
But I also was like, why can't I stand like that? Or
do that,
Or why can't boys hold hands? Or why? There's all these things that are happening.
Yeah.
I mean, little kids, the way that little girls hold hands.
Right.
That's okay.
Right.
I was actually going to say, you and I are talking about trying to maintain male friendship. Meanwhile, my wife Val
I love this conversation,
is
by the way.
up where we live, prancing around a maypole interlocked with her 4 friends. No one has a bra. Everyone's jiggling around. And then they sink
They jiggle
up and
fast and
they bleed into the soil and howl at the moon. They're doing fine. And we're over here going like, at least I hugged Joe today.
Yeah,
Like, we're barely keeping up.
I know, barely keeping up.
Barely.
We have a lot of catching up to do, the men.
How do you?
About a lot of things. How do I what?
I was going to say, what are your feelings about this with your son?
Oh, I mean, I'm trying to be as open and progressive with gender roles and all of that, and my wife as well with Eli as much as we can. You know, as a parent, like you just fear that you're going to say the wrong thing or fuck things up or mess things up and not really ruin a terrific soul. But so far I think we're doing pretty good on terms.
And when it comes to like this masculinity, the virtues of masculinity, although is your child that's a very
no, it's a fair question. No, he's 7 years old and seems to be very heterosexual.
Very boy.
Very boy. Yeah,
gender norm. I don't even know the term, but
I don't either.
Seems to be cisgendered.
Seems to be.
So when it comes to the very complicated mire of like what parts of this are great to pass on and what parts of this are kind of like more conversations, I'm not asking you to figure it out. I just
the first thing that we both try to teach him is just empathy and kindness. I think that's just a straightforward way to do it. And then in terms of physical stuff, like personal space is important, and like that's also a concept that many children
is he a space
have trouble.
invader?
A little bit, a little bit. He's the sweetest kid, and it's never out of aggression. It's out of excitement, and
of course,
and so that's a hard thing to navigate too, because you don't want to quash this wonderful spirit, and you just want to just have him understand the concept of.
Do you understand? This is why Greek boys were like wrestling and shit. It's let's get these fuckers wrestling.
Yeah, get it. Let's get it out of the system. Yeah, get them going.
They really seem to need it.
Yeah,
let's make the Olympics.
That's right.
That's what it was.
We got them. They let them throw hammers and metal balls.
Yes.
Let them run around the track for a while.
It's basically
have them jump over something too.
The Olympics. Yeah. They'll sleep tonight. That's what it is.
Run them out with the Olympics.
There'll be a torch. There'll be gold necklaces. You can
I love that idea of the whole Greek population. What are we going to do about these kids? We got to create some events.
But it's a healthy funneling.
Yeah.
Your son is getting in fate. Like, we have a girl, and I'm rough AF with Leela. She's fierce and incredible.
Right.
And she loves getting tossed. And frankly, I do a lot of the things I do with her to little boys, and they're fucking freaked out by it. Right. That sounds like I'm a total weirdo, but like maybe I'll flip somebody and be like, that hurt, man. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm used to Leela, who seems to be impervious to pain.
Yeah.
But like, it's interesting I'm losing my train of thought, but it was just about like, the healthy funneling of like, there seems to be this abundance of energy and desire to knock into stuff. Right. And that seems to be what sports is. Like, I feel like I hope Leela gets into sports.
Yeah.
Even though I never was into it.
I think sports are. I love sports. I'm a big sports fan, mainly football and baseball and soccer. But I think what sports does for me, a couple things in gatherings, functions where you don't know a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's a common denominator.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Rams? How about that game? How do we, what, you know,
I
that's
still feel left out on that. People are like, hey,
and it's very, very helpful, especially when you're with, you know, with people with different political feelings,
Yeah, that's right.
opinions, because then you bypass that altogether.
That's right.
And talk about the sports and
yeah, that's right.
and there's like just a drama and a history to it.
What you're saying?
What's
Like,
that?
There's some Republicans here, there's some Democrats here, and everybody's just talking about the Patriots, and I'm like, this is like a peacekeeping.
It really is.
It's giving the players concussions, but everyone here seems okay.
In terms of this room, it's helping.
We're winning.
We're winning here. And
Very dark.
very dark. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I like sports. I played sports a little bit when I was younger. I was not very good at them.
Yeah.
But loved playing.
It probably made you better once you got hooked up with the boys of the state. There's something about learning how to collaborate.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Teamwork for sure.
When to pass.
But also when to what?
When to pass.
When to pass.
Sometimes you don't have it.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to pass to this guy who's a silly dancer or whatever. it might
Zigzag
be.
zug.
Yeah.
And so it's also helped me gain some confidence when I was younger too. Sports, martial arts.
Yeah.
and,
Did you
soccer.
do the
I
karate?
did. I did taekwondo for a while.
Oh,
Yes,
very dangerous.
very dangerous. These feet are deadly. 50% deadly.
Favorite parts of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is when Bruce Lee goes like, if I kill somebody, if my arms are lethal weapons,
Right.
if I kill somebody, if I fight somebody and accidentally kill them, I go to jail.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, everybody goes to jail. That's called manslaughter.
Yeah, right.
I'm like,
It's a great line.
fucking brilliant. Have you ever almost died?
Yeah.
Tell me. Yep.
Sure did. With Ken Marino. And
Not in the van.
Yeah, did you hear the story? Did he tell that story?
Yeah, but I want to hear you tell it.
Oh, I didn't hear the whole
Marino's
episode.
almost die story was in the van with Michael Ian Black driving,
Yeah.
and he fell asleep.
Yeah.
But tell it, and I'll tell you where you differ.
Oh man. All right. Well, for your listeners, I apologize for going into this
I can't
again.
believe this is the first time we've had like crossover.
We had crossover. And Mike Showalter was also in the van. I'm sure he said that.
Yeah.
So it was four of us. We were coming from, I believe, New Orleans or Austin. And I think Ken had the first shift driving, left in the middle of the night. He did not drink that night. The rest of us did, except for Mike Black, who doesn't drink. And so the Mikes and I slept. Ken drove, and then at 7:30 pulled over, and Black jumped in there. I was sitting shotgun, and I remember being awoken to screaming and bouncing around, and it was me screaming.
That's never a good story when you're like, I heard screaming. Turns out it was me. And I screamed awake, and then I saw, because my seat was reclined, and I saw things going past the window, and I was bumping around. And I remember my first thought was, what dumb shortcut is Black taking? Like, what is he doing? Like, He's doing an off-road shortcut.
Honestly, for a millisecond, and then a millisecond after that, I realized what happened. I was terrified, and so we're bouncing
Who
all
else
over
is
the place.
screaming? Everyone?
Everyone must have been. I heard screaming. I think it might have been. Turns out it might have been Black when he woke up.
Yeah,
And Ken was sleeping behind us in the kind of row behind us, and he was up against the dashboard as we're going over shrubs and through small fences.
Wait, he got tossed to the front?
Yeah, so it was a 15-passenger van, and he was in that seat row, right behind the two
drivers,
front seats, laying down sleeping. And so he kind of just went forward, and so
Now he's on the dash.
Now he's on the dash between me and Mike, getting bumped around, and and
At least you got some male affection out
you
of
got
it.
male affection finally. And
Finally!
and we all talked about it.
And you're grabbing him and loving
Grabbing
him.
it,
You're
I am grabbing
Why
him.
does it have to be sexualized?
Why does it have to be this way? It doesn't mean anything, Ken. I just don't want you to go through the window.
Yeah. Saving
Showalter's
someone.
on the ground in the back. He's in the back row. we finally come to a stop. We had just gone off the road just before a ravine. So it really could have been really, really bad.
If I run for president, my campaign will be fill the ravines.
Fill all the
What are
ravines.
these ravines for? Let's spackle up the Grand Canyon. These are just killing people.
These are killing them. Let's fill in the
Fill
hole.
it with cock.
Pete Holmes. Vote me for president. I'll fill all the holes.
Drain the swamp, fill the holes. That's right. I'm openly cheating on my wife. And then I point to the camera. None of this Monica Lewinsky
and then
shit.
and then a bing on your teeth.
Yeah. Bing. Fill the hole.
Let's see. Black got out of the van, and started to do circled the van for damage. Now the front axle is completely smashed, and there's kind of barbed wire across the spider web splintered windshield. The rear views or the side view mirrors are gone. And he comes up to the window after a walk around. He's like, "You know, guys, it's really not that bad."
Wait,
He's in shock. He was being serious, but he was in
shock,
as we all were. Showalter at the time, we all were. Well, Ken wasn't, and Mike wasn't, but Showalter and I were smokers, and he kind of was just asking me for a cigarette, and he kept asking. He's like, "Joe, do you have a cigarette? Do you have a cigarette?" From the back, and I'm like, "Mike, everything in the van is all over the place. I don't know where my cigarettes are," you know. And so there was all this panic and shock. We had rented the car from MTV, and we're thinking about that. A guy had seen us go off the road as soon as we started going off the road, and he called the cops, and the police and the ambulance were there almost immediately. By the time we stopped, it was really quick, and
really.
Not immediately, but like within
the old
5 minutes,
Ravine
like
PD, was right around the corner,
right on the corner. Yeah, in my memory is that they were there super quick, it was like Buford T. Justice getting out of his trooper car with the mirror sunglasses and "How you boys doing?" Like it was that. I'm like, oh my God, are we in trouble? And he was really
Buford T. Justice.
He was really.
It's daytime, but he has the flashlight.
Right.
You guys been drinking? Terrifying.
I love Smoking the Bandit. I love Jackie Gleason. He was very helpful and not at all. I think he knew kind of what happened because it was like 7:30 in the morning, and I think it was apparent that someone fell asleep. So we didn't get the third degree. Asked if everyone was okay. We put Ken in the ambulance just to check his back, and we stayed overnight in a hospital in El Paso, Texas, and that was how we almost died in a van.
Look, I don't mean any disrespect to Ken Marino, but I feel like that was a better telling of the story.
Did I get more details in there?
You got a lot more details. And because I remember when Ken told it was very casual. But Kenny, if you see this, it was beautiful, but it was very sort of matter of fact. And you kind of went back there. You were like, and then Ken rolls to the top.
Well, it was.
He didn't mention that he rolled to the top, I don't think.
Yeah.
Did he? He did.
Yeah, he. I mean, it was a truly obviously scary moment, but one that actually stayed with me in my body for years. In that years later, even 5 years later, maybe not that much. Let's say within 2, if I was sleeping in a car, like not driving, obviously, riding or in a plane, and there was turbulence, I would startle awake. And, the PTSD of that event stayed with me for a while. That's, and there's similar themes that go on in this horror movie that I just wrote and directed. And it's because the body keeps the score. It's a great book by that title. And I'm forgetting the author. And it's true. And like all this stuff that you can't handle or is too much, your body goes, all right, I'll take it. You don't have to think about it. I'm going to hold it. Until you get it out, it's going to be here. And
I was just going to say, my friend went to that's Magic Mind.
I'm going to do it. I've heard about this.
You're going to love it.
While you talk.
There's no downside. That's all I'll say. You'll just love it. She went to it's not like Reiki or anything, but he's sort of an intuitive, sort of massagey, sort of like whatever. And he's going over your body and going, what's this? Was when, it's when you're 7. What happened when you were 7? Sort of like almost like a blend of a psychic and a masseuse.
Yep.
And that's a fine story. Anybody can claim that they're finding things on your body and saying, how old were you when this happened? And maybe something happened and you leave with kind of like a magic show feel. But after he did this work on her where he wasn't even touching her, he was just finding spots, maybe applying some pressure, but nothing major, and talking about what happened at a certain age, a certain year. She sits up after like 90 minutes of this, and he goes, just so you know, a lot of my patients sometimes get a little nauseous afterwards, so just drink some water, be patient with yourself the rest of the day. Just recognize that it might not seem like we did anything, but we did.
Yeah.
And she's driving home. She had like a 90-minute drive home, and in the middle of the drive just starts like exorcist puking everywhere.
Whoa.
So I'm like, that is still
Yeah.
in your thing. And the times people give the Reiki rake, I don't know why I looked at Katie, but Reiki gets a...
Are you naysaying Reiki?
She's a real naysayer, Reiki. It's an easy target. You're going to hover your hands over me. But the times that I've gone and they find something, just something tight, something blocked.
Yeah.
And they're not in my body. And I'm like, that is tight and blocked. And
Yeah.
they're just hovering over me.
We were talking about yoga or yoga, as I like to call
It's
it,
yoga,
earlier, and there were, I a while back when I was doing it more regularly, I was in a position where it was almost like a split, like it was stretching my hips. It was like somewhere there where my hips were kind of up and out.
Yeah,
and
on a block.
Yeah, I think it might have been on a block.
Love that.
I just started bawling, like not like, oh, this is like. Crying like what? My hips? What's? And it's true. It all
something was there.
It's all there.
It's like a river, and all of those things can get stuff moving.
Get stopped up.
And it's one of the weirdest. I just wish it was a little bit more culturally normalized, because as we're talking about it, I always go like, I gotta do more stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, I do wish it was just kind of part of. Integrated into Western medicine. We're like, hey, Joe, you said you had that weird thing. Look, it's not going to hurt, I think, and your insurance covers it. You should go talk to Wakimbi Nendo Joe. And Wakimbi is going to lay his hands on your shoulders and compliment your scent. That's what I did.
I think that's a smart approach. I wish that was true. I wish we had more of that.
I relate to what you're saying with the emotions from certain yoga poses.
It kind of gets back to really trying to take care of yourself. Like I'm going to kind of just briefly swing into a little bit about mental health.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking in particular of the senator from Pennsylvania, that Fetterman, I think, that checked himself in. Did you know about this? He had depression and was looking into it, and I just thought, as a public figure, that was pretty brave to do. Especially, I get why a lot of people are like, "What are you doing, man? Why'd you become a politician?" And like, what did you think was going to happen? And okay, I mean, I understand why people would feel that, but like the main takeaway is like, here's a guy that's trying to take care of himself.
Yeah,
and I just wish there was a little bit more patience with that.
Mental health is physical health. It's so much so that, like, I've said this a million, but I think it's a helpful image. It's like when people end their own lives, it's helpful to think that it's the same as a tumor. You know what I mean? It's like it's a thought tumor.
Yeah,
it's something that needed treatment, even though it's ethereal. It's not physical like a tumor, but these things are physical health, and they can be life and death issues.
Yeah.
But I went to therapy for years, and my father would still deny it. That's just generational. Not mad about it, but he's like, "You've never been to therapy."
Right.
I'm like, where are you?
Yeah.
Is this for you?
It's I found it helpful. Beth and I go, and I mean, therapy in general is just, I think, and I had a stigma with it for a while as well. I don't know if it's being Irish, Italian, or just...
Well, the only race that's impervious to therapy, according to Freud, is the Irish. But
came around and realized, it's super helpful.
So you go with your wife?
I do.
And so it's technically couples.
I have gone solo before. I'm currently not in, but will certainly return, because I like kind of checking in every now and then.
With the wife?
With myself.
Oh.
With myself, and going, by myself to therapy.
Yeah.
But
is that something that helps your relationship as well?
Sure, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I was just watching The Office where they were talking about couples therapy, and they're like, you're really there to talk to one another. Like the guy is there.
I think that's fairly true.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Val and I do the podcast together. I know this is going to sound silly, but having a dedicated time where we just talk to one another about our feelings, about our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I roll my eyes because it's just insane. Leela goes to school, so she's at school. You'd think that would be when we catch up, but that's when we have to cram in any work, or any friend, or any exercise, or anything, and it's gone. Before you know it, you're picking up Leela. She's the light of my life. I love her to death, but I don't know why I'm giving advice to people that didn't ask for it, but they can't. They're the listeners. I know some people have date nights. I'm just like, just a coffee, like we're gonna talk for 1 hour.
I think that's a great point, or even that's a great point, because sometimes date night is hard to manage, or it's too much. Or,
I agree. Just go get a coffee.
Even a half hour, even 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like it's I think it's the moment of like, hey, you've got my undivided, and what's going on.
Let's put our phones in a drawer.
Yeah.
I think it saves a lot of problems, hopefully, that are coming up. All right, let's see. I think
Am I not funny enough on this podcast?
Oh, we haven't been funny for 20 years. We haven't even tried to be funny.
By the way, I suffer from imposter syndrome and not good enough.
Well, you're doing great.
Thanks.
I think you're doing fantastic.
Just being open.
Imposter syndrome's a rough one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that like though, I mean, I think everyone can relate to, like, they're gonna find me out sooner or later that it's not.
Yeah,
I'm not really as interesting or talented or good as all my work says.
I wonder if it's a comfort to know that maybe everybody sort of feels that way.
Yeah,
I remember Mulaney told me a story about when he started writing for SNL. Somebody gave him a notebook, that said Saturday Night Live on it.
Yeah,
and they were. I wish I knew who it was, because it's really their story. But he leaned into Johnny and was like, I know what you're thinking. I'm a fraud, right? Some version of like, they're going to figure me out.
Right.
He's like, we all feel that way.
Yeah. I think that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. I know there's a lot of people that have it. It's hard. I don't want to out anybody, but I know other people in the business that have it. And it seems like a drag. Is it a drag?
I feel like it doesn't cripple me, and it's another kind of feeling. Sometimes it doesn't dominate me at all. Like, it's often after I get a job or after something comes out where I'm like, oh no, but it's fleeting. It's like I said, it hasn't really kept me from really kind of enjoying what I have done and the things that
At what point is it healthy?
Yeah,
I'm not trying to greenlight it. I'm just saying, like, the opposite of this is like, of course you hired the great Joe Lo Truglio.
Right. No,
maybe this is why you're learning your lines. Maybe this is why
it's kind of a preparation thing. Make sure. Yeah. Thank you.
It's like coming into this podcast being like, do I deserve it? Am I interesting enough to talk about for 2 hours?
Yeah.
I think given the alternative being like, you're welcome. Yeah. Like some 19-year-old YouTube star that's just like, you get to talk to me about the time I shaved my nuts on camera.
Oh, tell me about that.
Get out of here. Fucking get out of here. Well, I have my speed round, which I think you're going to enjoy, but we can also talk a little bit. I only say a little bit because there's no pressure about the meaning of life. I'm just taking a moment to remember that this is life. This is it.
Yeah.
Here we are. Weird.
Yeah.
Do you ever have that feel? I get that feeling all the time where I'm like, this is the mystery we're all talking. This is the mystery that confounded Plato.
Right.
Plato was like, what?
He was thinking this too.
Yes.
Like, what is?
And it's this moment.
Yeah.
We're in it. Usually happens in the morning. I wake up, or in the middle of the night, I'll pee or something, and I'm like, oh, right. It's this. I still haven't figured this out. And I don't think I ever will exactly figure it out.
Right.
But do you have any signposts, anything that's helping you not freak out?
Oh, I try to keep my actions in life toward, again, we talked about a little about creating things, but also understanding that your time is limited. Like, as far as the meaning of life, I at a young age, I remember imagining I was getting existential, like like 7, 8 years old, be like, what if it was just like it's all black? Like I'm not even here. But I'm not even thinking that I'm not here because I'm not here. Like I was pretty early on thinking of
7 or
things
8.
yeah, like or that's my memory of it anyway. You know, maybe it was a little bit older, but you know, so I've always I don't know what my point is in terms of that.
Can I join you in that? I remember thinking when I was around the same age, being like, what if I'm the only one that's real? Which is weird because the more I go into it's Buddhism, it's Hinduism, it's like there is only one mind. I misinterpreted that intuition that I am the only, that Pete is the only one that's real and Joe disappears when I'm not looking at him. But then there are all these ancient traditions that point to the idea that like that was a misarticulation of the idea that we're all sharing the same being.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I add to that saying like part of, as I get older, the meaning of life is finding those connections.
Yeah.
Just finding those connections that where they're all there, you know? I mean, you know, maybe this may not be popular, but I just believe that we're ash and dust. And so I feel like it's important to live life without regrets, to make sure that the people that you care about and you love, they know it, that you leave something leave something behind that's better than how you left it. Like all of these things.
Bury your poop. Don't leave any trash.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. Like I think I said in my memo, I'm like, talk about cleaning up your own shit because I honestly,
that's weird.
And I'll show you. And I'm like, because this is a good thing to talk about. I think about stuff to talk about with you, and you know, it's so important to me. Like even if you know someone's not gonna step in it, clean it up.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know,
it's really weird. I've never done the camping metaphor, but there is something about leaving it better and not making a mess that is. And
even if you can't leave it better, if you leave a mess, clean it up.
Yeah,
that's the main thing.
By the way, your ash and dust thing is it might not be religion at its deeper levels would agree with you, even though that seems bleak.
Well, I want to add to that though, because I mean, I am an atheist, but I also do know that I am not in total control.
Yeah, sure.
That there is a higher power, and
you just
and I don't know, and I don't know. I hope something is out there, but for me to kind of really dig my heels into life, I need to feel like this is it, like this is all we have, and so let's make it right and be kind and empathetic.
Ideally, your worldview would lock you into the juice of your experience. So for you, not having the easy answer of a deity or whatever it might be, but rather saying, I don't know, but I know that I'm impermanent. It's very Buddhist, to be honest.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want you to feel less alone. Because Buddhism is it's non-theistic. It doesn't claim a God, and it claims that it's important to remember that you're going to die. Certain other religions have it as well. St. Francis called his body his corpse. It was just this way of reminding himself that like it's this briefly animated corpse. The Gnostics were very hard on the body.
Were you raised a certain religion?
I was raised evangelical Christian, like a fundamental. Okay. I say fundamentalist, but not true nuts.
I see.
That can get pretty nuts. I just mean literalists. We believed the Bible to be literal for the most part. Yeah. Which is pretty tricky, icky, sticky.
Sure.
At least that's how I took it. I'd be curious if I really, with my adult brain now, interviewed my pastor when I was growing up, if he would have said that the creation story, for example, was poetry and not literal. He probably would have, if I had to guess. But what I took from it was, because there were the leaders, but then there were just like us, the congregants. Right. And we were like a tribe going for certainty and going for answers. And so we kind of had our own self-propagated fundamentalism, even if the church wasn't itself.
I see. Okay.
So I've had to shed.
By the way, I want to be clear that I think faith is very important. Yeah. And I think a belief in God or Christ or whatever is important for some, and I think it's not for me per se, but like it's something that I would defend.
Well, it's interesting because you're saying higher power or mystery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, you're in good company. There's a lot
Yeah.
of atheists. I don't think you've betrayed your atheism at all. You're just saying, I do not have a certain feeling about a God
Right.
that other people seem to have.
Yeah.
That is not your worldview. But it reminds me of how in the Hebrew tradition, you wouldn't write the name of God, right? So you're actually taking that so far as to say, like, I'm not even going to name this thing.
Right.
Like the Big Bang erupted.
Right.
Like the universe sprung into life.
Yep.
And you have such reverence, I'm putting words in your mouth, for that mystery that you're like,
Absolutely.
I'm not even going to name the dude that did it, but I am going to have humility and I'm going to recognize I'm a part of it and I'm a fleeting part of it.
Absolutely. Yes, that's exactly it. And yeah.
Yeah. To that, the only reason I always want my atheist friends to have some comfort when it comes to death being the big black nothing, and I've talked about this a million, but it's like, don't forget the universe erupted out of a big black nothing.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's like you go into your origin.
Right.
Like you came out of a big black nothing, you go into a big black nothing. So don't be afraid of the thing that birthed you.
I think that's a great.
So there's hope for everybody.
There's hope. Yes, yes. And I appreciate you finding that.
Well, that's what I'm saying
there
is
too, yeah.
when Dr. Drew, I've mentioned this many times, but when Dr. Drew, this podcast, he's been with a lot of people as they're dying, and he's like, I'll tell you, I wish I believed in God because the people that do tend to do better as they're dying. And I'm like, you don't have to have a God. You need to have a reverence for a system, this is a cliche, that's larger than you.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hearing.
Which I have. And also, like, again, this is about like living your life how it is true to yourself. Then I feel like I've done it. I did my purpose. I've been as truthful as I can to this spirit that is,
that's right.
you know,
You ran with the
working.
ball.
I ran with the ball.
And you strapped on a
ran with
big
the ball.
old fake ding dong in one of my
That's it.
favorite movies.
Oh, you know, I
Did you write that down?
no, but I wanted to
Fake
bring you
ding
the script. I wanted to give
Oh, I
you,
would've loved
and I'm
it.
going to get it to you.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it to you, and because it's just in my kind of office.
Did you know it's one of my favorite movies?
I did. Carrie or Ken had told me,
Yeah,
and that's amazing. And I'd love.
Oh, I'd love to read it.
I'd
love to have it.
You could have it.
That's
We'll
so
give it to
cool,
you,
man.
We'll
Thank
give
you.
it to you.
Does it mention your huge hog?
No, but you
It
want
would
to
be
hear.
funny if it would be like
You want to hear
outruns a naked man
a good
with
story?
a huge
You want to hear a
hog.
good story? From
Yes,
I don't know how
do.
much time we have left, but
This is great.
So we shot that in Georgia, and
Can I give context? This is a movie Wanderlust where Joe plays a naked hippie,
thank
like
you.
a nudist.
Thank you. Yes,
And you wear a prosthetic.
I wear a prosthetic penis, and I'm meeting the special effects guy for the first time to just meet him, and because he's going to be putting on this appliance all the time,
special
getting
purpose effects.
quite intimate with me.
Yeah.
So we meet at an Applebee's, like in Athens, Georgia, somewhere.
Eating good in the neighborhood.
And we go to the Applebee's and we are talking about our love for horror movies, and then it's kind of like a drug deal. I'm like, all right, so
You got the piece.
where you got the piece? Where is it? And he goes, it's in the car. So we go out. So we go out to the car. Okay, he gets in the driver's seat. I sit shotgun. It's in a shoebox. And
Filled with hay? Or just alone?
It's just alone. It's just
Yeah,
it's just
it's just
alone.
alone.
And now this really does feel like an illicit drug deal or something illicit is happening. And I guess in a way it was.
Are you a cop?
And
Are you a cop?
are you a cop first? And I open up now. Also at this, the movie I'd done before was an independent movie that never came out, but I was playing a transgender, and I was going through transition, and so I had shaved my chest. And he was saying, you know, you're going to be a nudist. We may have to put some hair on your chest. Can I see your chest as well? So in the car, I have my shirt up and I'm holding the fake penis and I'm looking at it and I'm like, all that needs now is a Georgia trooper to come pulling up right next to it. Yeah, how we doing today? It's puberty justice again. And ran off the road and now this.
It's Thomas Lennon in his shorts. Yeah. But he doesn't know you.
He doesn't know
it's
me.
Actually, the character.
Come, it's me. Anyway, that was the first meeting of Toby Sells, the gentleman's name. He was great. And
Gave you that ding dong.
He gave me the ding dong. I don't know where it is. I think it's property of Universal. It's not at Planet Hollywood.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
You go to Planet Hollywood.
There it is.
A Mormon family goes to Planet Hollywood.
Yeah.
They've been waiting their whole lives, and they get sat at the Lo Truglio table
right.
with the ding dong.
It was very fun playing that role. It was fun
must have
walking
been.
around in a robe for the whole time.
Everyone I've talked to about that movie, because one of the things that I love about it is it speaks to how we would be doing better if we would just be together. If that was a value, instead of these rectangles that we all hide from each other in. It's nice. The hippies are on to something.
Yeah.
In fact, they didn't make it up.
That's right.
The Native Americans, lots of different cultures have been a little bit more forced proximity, and it can be really beautiful. And also that movie skewers just exactly how it can go wrong as well. But when you're shooting a movie, even if it's not a movie about forced community, a movie itself is a forced community. So if you're in a forced community of a movie doing a movie about a forced community, you got that experience a little bit. Yeah. You got to be...
It was a great. I loved making the movie, and there was that vibe on set too. We all had like our houses, and we'd have parties after, and it was a lot of fun. My parents visited that set, and when I walked out with my prosthetic, they're in Video Village, and everyone in Video Villages, they were sitting in the back and just kind of like turned to see what their reaction was. I was like,
my God.
They got a kick out of it.
And your dad,
they were thrilled to meet Jennifer
Aniston.
Aniston.
From me.
Yeah, right.
Of course, they were thrilled to meet Jennifer Aniston.
Oh man, and she was a sweetheart as she's known to be.
I'm sure she would be. I'm sure
it was great. It was a good time.
Well, that covers the pod. I think that's a great story to end on. We always do one laugh moment after the God moment, but you did it on your own.
right,
Unless you want to tell me the time you laughed the hardest in your life, but you kind of
I
just
do.
did it. Okay, please do.
It's short.
I mean,
it's so this happened recently because I was thinking about this too.
unlike the last story, this one's short.
It's short.
Big dick joke. BDJ. That was a BDJ.
Oh, there you go.
BDJ.
My wife and I, it's at the end of the night. We're kind of we're in bed. We're reading. No, she is now gone to sleep, but I'm not tired yet. But I'm hungry, and I I bring this big bag of old school tortilla chips, like the thick kind, like the really thick,
Like, the
with
Mission.
like a thick cellophane bag, and so it's just. I'm opening. It's it's so loud, and I'm like, I finally get the chip, and then the chicken, and then just. And this, I get through like three chips, and like she just starts laughing, and it's like, "Are you kidding me? Are you?" And she's laughing, and I start laughing because we're both acknowledging how I'm trying to be quiet. It's impossible to be quiet, and it was a great laugh.
You
Big,
have
deep
done
laugh.
it. That is such a great marriage laugh. That is so something I would do, but you don't give up. What I love about it is you didn't give up. The bag is too loud. The first chip is too loud.
The chip in, and because I went to different parts of my teeth, I'm like, I crunched on this part, it was loud. Maybe if I in the front, what if I kind of suck the salt off and make it a little bit soggier? But then you're hearing, and none of it worked.
This is everything. It reminds me of I was in a meeting, a student government meeting in college, and I was eating a brownie, and my roommate Chuck was watching me eat this brownie, and I was done with the brownie, but there's some crumbs. Yeah, and I started. I don't know if I wet my finger, but it was a pretty moist brownie, so I could just push on the crumb and put it in my mouth. He watched this whole thing happen. A fly lands. I swat the fly. 10 seconds later, I look, I see the fly. I think it's a brownie. I push it. I pretty much get it in my mouth. But it makes it even better that he was watching
the whole time.
Like things like that happen.
You didn't know anyone was watching.
I didn't know anyone was watching. He watched, and he knew when I killed the fly. He was like, "That dingus is going to think that's a piece of brownie," and I did. It got in my mouth, and I was like, like that.
Amazing
food. Like hunger being such a need.
Incredible.
Your story and those stories are my favorite. That was a great answer.
Good. Well, and I'm just
so glad
lastly
we
want to
didn't
say
end.
thank you for having me. And
Yes, of course.
And I think you're terrific at what you do, man.
Oh,
and
thanks, buddy.
and your podcast is very open and funny and true and human. And
I
it's great.
appreciate that, man.
Yeah, thanks.
It was wonderful that you you were there for it. You know what I mean? I'm always trying to get this exact vibe that we had today.
Oh, good.
But
Good.
and sometimes it's not the other person's fault, but that's not their frequency. But we got there immediately.
Yeah.
And this flew by, and you're a delight.
Right
and
on.
thank you. And what's the name of your movie?
It's called Outpost, and will be released in May of 2023.
Okay.
We're very, very
Outpost.
excited.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
Would you say keep it crispy? It's just how we end.
Sure. Keep it crispy.
After 2 hours of not mispronouncing a word after you said sometimes you do when you do podcasts, it would have been great if you were like, crunch-to-doasty. Crunch-to-doasty, Pepperidge Farm.
Keepy.
We had a lot. Remember the riffs? You're going to drive
Yes.
home and you're going to remember all our riffs.
I know.
And you'll be proud.
I hope so.
And you'll go, imposter no more.
Yes. Thanks, buddy.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You made it with